What if I told you that one of the most powerful weapons used to conquer Africa wasn't a gun, it wasn't a cannon, it wasn't even an army, it was something much simpler. People turned against people. Neighbors began distrusting neighbors. Kingdoms that had traded together for centuries suddenly saw each other as enemies. Sounds like the plot of a political drama, right? Well, according to historical records, this strategy became one of the most effective tools European colonial powers used across Africa, and its effects can still be felt today. Think about that for a moment. Before European colonization reached its peak in the late 19th century, Africa wasn't one giant country waiting to be discovered. Far from it. The continent was home to hundreds of kingdoms, empires, city-states, and communities. Some fought each other, some traded peacefully. Some formed alliances that lasted generations. Official accounts tell us that Africa was politically diverse long before colonial rule. That diversity wasn't a weakness. In many places, it was simply reality. But then came the era known as the Scramble for Africa. Between the 1880s and the early 1900s, European powers divided almost the entire continent among themselves. And controlling millions of people with relatively small colonial armies presented one huge problem. How do you rule so many with so few? Now that's where things get interesting. Instead of trying to control everyone directly, many colonial administrations relied on a strategy historians often describe as divide and rule. The basic idea was surprisingly simple. Support one group, limit another. Reward loyal leaders, punish resistance. Encourage competition, and make sure different communities never united against colonial authority. Real talk, if people are busy arguing with each other, they're much less likely to organize against the people in charge. According to historical records, British officials frequently governed through existing local rulers, a system known as indirect rule. In some regions, certain chiefs gained more power under colonial governments than they ever had before. Meanwhile, neighboring communities sometimes found themselves excluded from political influence. That imbalance created new tensions, and in many cases, those tensions outlived colonial rule itself. Take Nigeria, for example. British administrators governed the North and South differently. Different educational policies, different administrative systems, different political structures. While these decisions often reflected local conditions, they also reinforced regional differences. When independence eventually arrived in 1960, the new nation inherited those uneven systems. Was every challenge caused by colonial rule? Of course not. Africa's history is far more complex than that. But historians widely agree that colonial policies shaped many of the political divisions that followed. Here's something people don't always think about. Colonial borders were often drawn with rulers on maps, not by rivers, not by mountains, not by language, and certainly not by asking local communities where they wanted those borders. Families found themselves living in different colonies overnight. Ethnic groups were divided. Others were combined into new political units. Think about that. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering your hometown had become part of another country without anyone asking you. It sounds unbelievable. Yet, for millions of Africans, something remarkably similar happened. But a closer look raises important questions. Was divide and rule always a carefully planned master strategy, or was it sometimes a practical response to governing enormous territories with limited resources? Many historians argue it was both. Some colonial officials openly discussed encouraging rivalries to maintain control. Others simply relied on local political realities without fully understanding the long-term consequences. The evidence suggests that colonial governments often benefited whenever unity became more difficult. Whether intentional or not, division frequently strengthened colonial authority. That doesn't mean every conflict in modern Africa can be blamed on colonialism. Far from it. Independent governments made their own decisions. Cold War politics added new pressures. Economic struggles, corruption, and regional conflicts all played important roles. History is rarely explained by a single cause, but ignoring the colonial legacy would leave out an important part of the story. Perhaps the biggest lesson isn't just about Africa, it's about power itself. Throughout history, leaders across different civilizations have often discovered the same political truth. People who distrust one another are much easier to govern than people who stand together. Different countries, different centuries, the strategy keeps appearing in different forms. Coincidence? Or one of history's oldest political playbooks? We'll let you decide. What do you think? Did colonial divide and rule policies permanently reshape Africa? Or do we sometimes underestimate the continent's ability to overcome those historical divisions? Drop your thoughts below.
If this stirred something in you, hit like. Share this with someone who needs to question everything. Comment below what historical silence we should investigate next. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the past didn't vanish. It's just waiting to be found.